We should be grading this. Let's start off here. Question number 1 is C. Question 2 is K. Question 3 is B. Question 4 is J. Question 5 is D. Question 6 is H. Question 7 is D. Do I need to go back and reread any of those? No? Okay. All right. Question 8 is G. Question 9 is D. Question 10 is G. Question 11 is D. Question 12 is H. Question 13 is B. Question 14 is H. Question 15 is D. Question 16 is K. Any of those need reread. Okay. And our last page. 17 is B. 18 is K. 19 is B. 20 is K. 21 is B. 22 is F. 23 is C. 24 is J. 25 is A. 26 is H. And 27 is A. Okay. Any of those on that page need reread? All right. Let's go back up to our first column. One through 4. You may need anything 1 through 4. Okay. Don't get anything there. 5 through 7. 5. Okay. Okay, a wallet containing $5 bills, 7 $10 bills, 8 $20 bills is found and returned to its owner. The wallet's owner will return. The wallet's owner will reward the finder with 1 bill drawn from the wallet. What is the probability that the bill drawn will be a $20 bill? Haley, can you tell me what probability is? All right. So how many $20 bills are there? How many total number of bills are there? Okay, 5, 7, and 8. 5 and 7 is 12. 12 plus 8 is 20. Okay, so there's 8 desired over 20, and that reduces down to what? 4 tenths. 4 tenths will reduce down to 2 fifths. Okay? So you knew everything that you needed to know there. Okay. Yep. Okay, anything else on that column? 6 or 7? No? All right. What about 8 through 11? Okay. 10. Okay, the fluctuation of water depth at a pier is shown in the figure below. One of the following values gives the positive difference in feet between the greatest water depth and the least water depth shown in this graph. Which value is it? What they're showing you is that the water is at its lowest, it's at 6 feet. At its highest, it's at 12 feet. So it's got a positive depth. Okay, it's increasing a depth of 6 feet. Okay, So you could write just 12 minus 6 equals 6. Okay? That's the depth between the greatest and the least. Okay? Okay, anything else on that column? What about 12 through 16? 14? 12? Okay, 12 and 14. 12, in Cherokee County, the fine for speeding is $17 for each mile per hour the driver is traveling over the posted speed limit. In Cherokee County, Kirk was fined $221 for speeding on a road with a posted speed limit of 30 miles per hour. Kirk was fined for traveling at what speed in miles per hour? Okay, so we pay $17 for every mile per hour over. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 221 and divide it by 17 to find out how many miles per hour over he was. Okay, 221 divided by 17 is 13. Well, clearly he's not driving 13 miles per hour, so what do I need to do with 13? Add it to 30, because he's going 13 miles per hour over 30. So he was traveling 43 miles per hour in a 30 mile per hour zone. Okay, and that's what's getting me H. Okay? All right, and then you said 14. Okay? The average of 5 distinct scores has the same value as the median of the 5 scores. The sum of the 5 scores is 420. What is the sum of the 4 scores that are not the median? Okay, so what I did was this, is that I don't know, hopefully this will make sense, is we know that we have 5 distinct scores. So I said x plus x plus x plus x, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 divided by 5 has the, let's see, the average of 5 distinct scores. Okay. The sum of the 5 scores, hold on a second, let me do this again. Okay, x plus x plus x plus x plus x equals 420. Okay, I can take 420 and divide it by 5, and that 420 divided by 5 tells me that on average it would be 84, right? If I took 84 plus 84 plus 84 plus 84 plus 84 and divided it by 5, right, I would get an average, and I would get a total of 420. Okay, so the average number is 84. Now, what they say is that each of these numbers is distinct, okay, which means they're all different numbers that add up to 420, okay? So this is what I did, is I stuck 84 in the middle, okay, of these 5 scores, and on either side I went up and down. Okay, so that all of those are distinct numbers, right? Okay, but I stuck 84 in the middle, and if I add those up, I should still get 420. Okay, because, you know, I mean, the average between 82 and 86 is still 84. The average between 83 and 85 is still 84. Okay. The sum of the 5 scores is 420. What is the sum of the 4 scores that are not the median? Well, 84 I placed as the median, so all I have to do is add 82 plus 83 plus 85 plus 86. Okay, now granted, there's maybe a different way to do this, but I end up with 336 for that, which is the answer. Okay? So that's the work that I would write down on that question, just so I'm seeing it and I'm practicing it. Okay? Do you still need that, or do you have it? Okay. Okay, was there anything else? We did 12 and 14. Anybody on 13, 15, or 16 need any of those shown? Okay. Okay. 17 through 21. 19. 19, 20, and 21. What about 17 or 18? Okay. What were those again? 19, 20, and 21. Okay. 19, was this one yours? Okay, 19. The length of two legs are shown. We want the midpoint of AB is how many inches. So we're going to find the length of AB and then divide it by 2. Okay, because it's the midpoint. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use Pythagorean theorem to find the length of AB. Okay, so you're going to get 32 squared plus 24 squared equals c squared, right? And the quickest way to do this in your graphing calculator is just to go ahead and do the square root of 32 squared plus 24 squared, because then it'll do all of that in one swap for you. And you should wind up with 40 equals C or AB, okay? But because we want the midpoint, we're going to take 40 divided by 2, and we're going to get 20. Okay? All right. 20. Okay, in triangle DEF, the length of DE is a radical 30. The length of EF is 3. If it can be determined what is the length of DF, okay, let's see, D, E, F, they told me the DE is radical 30. They tell me the EF is 3. They don't tell me what type of triangle this is. I can find a range for that, but I can't, notice they're not allowing me to get a range. Okay, they're asking for an exact value. Okay, so the only thing that I know, because this isn't, I'm not getting any special right triangle ratios here, right? Okay, it's not like this is 3 and this is 3 radical 3, right? So this is one of those where it can't be determined. If we want to go the route of looking into the range is going to be, well, what is radical 30? Square root of 30 comes out to 5.4. You could call it 5.5 if you want. So 3 plus x has to be greater than 5.5. 5.5 plus x has to be greater than 3. You could do some things that way. But ultimately, we're not going to be able to find an exact length. All we would be able to get out of that is a range. Okay? Okay, and 21. Laura plans to paint the 8-foot-high rectangular walls of her room. And before she buys paint, she needs to know the area of the wall surface to be painted. 2 walls are 10 feet wide. The other 2 walls are 15 feet wide. The combined area of 1 window and the 1 door in her room is 60 square feet. What is the area in square feet of the wall surface Laura plans to paint? What I did is I made kind of a rough illustration of the room. Okay, we know that her walls are 8 foot high. Okay, 8 foot high rectangular walls. One of her walls is 10 feet wide, and the other 2 walls are 15 feet. Okay, so if I kind of look at it like this, I know that that's 15. I know this is 10. Okay, I know that's 8 around. So what you're actually looking for is, this is a rectangular prism, and what we're finding is the lateral area. Lateral area can be found by taking the perimeter of the room times the height. So the perimeter of the room is actually 50. 15 plus 15 is 30. 10 plus 10 is 20. So I got 50, right? 50 times 8. Okay, well 50 times 8 is 400. Okay, so that's 400 feet squared, but we need to take out the 60 square feet, okay, which includes my window and my door. So 400 minus 60 equals 340. Does that make a little bit more sense? Okay. So, I don't know. I mean, you don't have to use the lateral area formula. I mean, if you just, basically you're finding the area of all 4 walls. So you could have taken, 10 times 8, and gotten your 80 times 2, and your 15 times 8 times 2, and then subtracted out the 60, you would have got the same thing. Okay, but for me, it's always easier if I draw that picture, so that I'm a visual person, so if I can see it, it makes sense. All right, 22 through 27. Go ahead. 22 and 23. Okay. Okay. 24. Okay. So everything but 27. Is that right? Okay. 22. The length of a rectangle is 5 inches longer than the width. The perimeter of the rectangle is 40 inches. What is the length? What is the width of the rectangle in inches? So I start off with a rectangle. They tell me that the length is 5 inches longer than the width, but they don't tell me what the width is. All I know is that the length is the width plus 5. Okay, and that they tell me that the perimeter is 40. So because it's a rectangle, opposite sides are going to be congruent. So I'm going to add all of that up. W plus W is 2W. Who had 22? Okay. All right, so I'm looking at the right person. All right, W plus W is 2W. W plus 5 plus W plus 5 is going to be 2W plus 10. So I'm going to get 2W plus 10 plus 2W. So I should get 4W plus 10, right? So 4W plus 10 equals 40. Okay, subtract 10, I get 4W equals 30. Okay, divide by 4. Okay, 30 divided by 4 comes out to 7.5. Okay. All right, who is 23? Okay, a couple of you on 23. 23, 8% of 60 is 1/5 of what number? Okay, so here we just want to take the words that are being used here and substitute in mathematical terms. So typically speaking, we're always going to end up taking percentages and turning them into decimals, right? So what is the decimal form of 8%? 0.08. What is of in math? Okay, so 0.8 times 60, what is in math? Equals 1/5, in this case, x. Because it's 1/5 of, notice that of is still multiplication, right? Of an unknown. So what I'm going to do with the left-hand side is take 0.08 times 60, which is what? 0.48? 4.8 equals 1/5 x. What do I want to do next? Multiply by 5. So 4.5 times 5, okay, should come out to 24. Okay? Yeah, and that's the reason I bring that up at the beginning, because that's really easy to do, okay, because we're used to that. 0.8 is going to be 80%, right? Okay, so make sure that when we convert from percents to decimals, that we're careful with that. Okay? 24. Okay. 24, Armin is trying to decide whether to buy a season pass for his college basketball team's 20 home games this season. The cost of an individual's tickets is $14. The cost of a season pass is $175. The season pass will admit Armin to any home basketball game at no additional cost. What's the minimum number of home basketball games Armin must attend? So we're going to get 175 equals 14x. Okay, so just take 175 divided by 14. What does that come out to? $12.5. Okay, which means the cost is the same if he goes to 12.5 games. But you can't go to half a game. So when he goes to 13 games, his season pass is cheaper than paying the $14 per game. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, 25. Okay. This is, granted, this actually works out pretty nicely, but okay. So let's start with the exponents on my tens, all right? 10 to the negative 7th over 10 to the negative 11th. I would bring that 10 to the negative 11th up. Whenever I do that, that 11 becomes positive. What's negative 7 plus 11? 4. So I get 10 to the 4th. Now what I want to do is I want to take 4.8 divided by 1.6. What is that? Three. And because that is already in significant digit form, or sorry, in scientific notation, right? I don't need to move the decimal, which means I don't need to move an exponent. So I just have 3.0 times 10 to the 4th. Okay? Like I said, that one works out really nicely. If it had come out where that decimal was someplace else, then I would have had to move the decimal and move the exponent. Okay? All right, and 26. Who is 26? Okay, it's fine. All right. A circle in standard XY coordinate plane has the center at negative 1, 2 and passes through 2, 6 at A. Line segment AB is a diameter of this circle. What are the coordinates of point B? So this is what I want you to understand is that, I mean, you could use coordinate paper for this, but they're saying that this is my center at negative 1, 2, and A is at, let's just say 2, 6, okay? B would have to be on the other side of that because it's a diameter. So this is what, we're going to end up using the midpoint formula, but C is the midpoint of AB. Does that make sense? Okay, because it's a diameter, it has to cross to the center, and that center is always going to represent the radius. Okay, so if you go back to some of our geometry stuff where we had the midpoint, but if you remember some of those questions, we knew what the coordinates of the radius was, but we didn't know the coordinates of the other endpoint. That's exactly what this is. So because this is part of the question and that's the solution, right? So midpoint is x plus, in this case, an unknown divided by 2 equals my known solution, negative 1, right? And then 6 plus y divided by 2 equals my solution, 2. All right, and then solve. All right, so you know how to go from there. And you should wind up with negative 4, negative 2. Should get h for that. Okay, so do you want me to solve out the rest of that, or are you pretty good at that point? Okay. All right, any other questions, anything we didn't go over? JP, Vanessa, Marcus, Liz, I know you guys didn't ask any questions, but did you guys get your questions answered? Okay? Okay. All right, we'll stop right there.